If you were a competing agency and you wanted to learn how to do what we do, you could probably go to our YouTube and become a competitor if you really wanted to. And that's almost kind of the way we're framing it, is like if we give so much value that someone could create a business from our videos and the content that we're helping people with, and like we're probably doing it right and giving enough value. We want to brainstorm creating like an information product / you might call it a course / maybe do like live trainings with some clients, because basically all of our clients right now are through the service, through our part of our service business, through the agency, like doing done for you repurposing for them with podcasts, webinars, things of that nature. It's very hands-on. What made me think of it though is like a few days ago, we've had some clients and they have, or potential clients that have like objections, like maybe our service is too expensive because we have raised prices, and it's definitely not like a cheap service. It's something that you do have to invest in. And I think that with that, having like an additional offer that's more affordable, that if someone wants to do repurposing themselves, is really helpful for still servicing a client if we can't give them the full suite of done for you services. So
I think an easy way to set up this problem is we have our done for you repurposing service, and we also try to provide a lot of value through social media and YouTube of like a DIY library. So we have those two things going for us right now. The people we're missing is they already have a team member who could do it, or they want to hire a contractor themselves and do everything in-house, which is totally awesome. But it'd be awesome if we had a way to, since we're already experts, teach their team member or bring on a new video editor for them and help them through the process of doing it in-house. So it's almost like a service in between, not that our DIY is a service, but like is an in-between offering to an extent to help people actually repurpose their content if they don't have enough time to do it themselves and they want to hire somebody in-house though.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, like, I think we should like quickly lay out what our service looks like. So like our clients, they have a finished podcast recording or webinar, they send it to us, and specifically you, and then you kind of distribute it to the video editors. They go through, listen for like really good clips from the podcast or that webinar, and then we'll create engaging short videos for social media, like 30 to 60 second videos from that content. And like you said, like that's something that these podcasts, because we're not doing the full production of the podcast, like, or the webinars. They have to do that. Like there's a lot of work that they actually have to do on their end. They have to bring their expertise. It's not like we're just doing everything for them. And we've been intentional to just focus on the repurposing process because we want to work with people that are already up and running and that have like a routine of doing this and helping them go even further with the work that they're already doing. With that being said, yes, they could do this in-house, but I think what we're realizing is that like, just because repurposing is easy for us because we've done it so much, that like for other people, learning how to repurpose, take out short clips, do headlines, do subtitles, do music, do outros, it's like not easy. So with that being said, if we can train people and get them up to speed, give them templates, like I think there's a lot of value there in helping them get started. So yeah, I mean, we could build an entire business based off of the service and the service alone. I think that's certainly possible, but I think for our long-term vision, that's probably not what's best for, and I don't think it's fully sustainable, like in the long term. I think it comes back to the type of business we're trying to build.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 100 clients in this business and you're doing that many clips a week or month, it'll become a total nightmare, and you need so many different project managers. And so, building it to client numbers that is similar to a SaaS product is honestly just not realistic. And picking the clips right now is still not easy for any AI, and probably won't be for years. So it still really needs to be done manually, at least at this point in time. So there kind of is a way to potentially train people so that they can do it for these individuals. Instead of us having 100 clients, maybe we train 100 people that can help each individual podcaster or company.
Yeah, I felt like a good mission for our YouTube channel, which is like we put up tutorials on YouTube. That's like if you were a competing agency and you wanted to learn how to do what we do, you could probably go to our YouTube and become a competitor if you really wanted to. And that's almost kind of the way we're framing it, is like if we give so much value that someone could create a business from our videos and the content that we're helping people with, and like we're probably doing it right and giving enough value. Like we're literally empowering people to do what we do. I think a good mission is to train 1,000 freelancers to create a career off of content and podcast repurposing. Like I feel like that could be a really cool mission statement for our YouTube. And it could be something we say too, like we want to train. And how cool would that be to be able to help that, which like 1,000 people, that's like, it's not a small amount, it's not a huge amount, but it's like a substantial amount. I mean, I'd be happy if we could even train 10 people to build careers. But
I know, I was going to say, let's start at 100 first.
I know, but as far as like
10.
a credo, like if we're going to have it and say it in our YouTube videos, like at the end of our videos, we could say like, our goal is to train 1,000 people just like you to build a freelance career out of repurposing so you can have sustainable income, have a career that gives you freedom, and you can really help out content creators go further. I feel like that could be a cool credo and a cool mission. Whereas like our work on LinkedIn maybe and Twitter is more about like building relationships with the podcasters, with the people that are creating webinars, with these corporations, and selling them the done for you service. And then the YouTube channel is more targeted towards like training people to do this themselves. And hey, maybe they can work with us, or maybe they're the people that get trained with what we teach them, and then we plug them into podcasters and process and corporations process, and they're kind of like their in-house editor. So I don't know. I think that could be a fun thing. You know what it made me think of? This, so Spongebob, you know.
Where's this going?
What's the Krusty Krab? What's the chum bucket? Do you remember?
Yeah,
what was
Plankton.
Plankton. Do you remember how he had like, he was so afraid to give away his recipe? Do you remember that? Or
He
wait,
wanted to steal the Krusty Krab's recipe for his restaurant.
I'm getting it wrong. It's Mr. Krabs who is so secretive of his recipe. They were actually successful though. The chum bucket, they had nothing good. They just sold chum. They needed the recipe. But actually, in this case, I don't think that's a good analogy for what I was saying. Because I guess the learning there is that like Plankton was so adamant on doing it someone else's way and stealing someone else's idea that he never learned how to do it himself. And he never made a successful business out of it. But I think that like Mr. Krabs probably, how would anyone have competed with him when like SpongeBob was his cook? The reason it was so good was SpongeBob, right? It wasn't the recipe, it was SpongeBob. He was like the master fryer. Like no one could compete against him. I'm pretty sure that was the whole premise. I don't know. Am I wrong?
I think it might have been the recipe. I think SpongeBob might have been a cog in the machine, but he definitely was pretty good at his job.
He mixed in love. That was his special.
He did.
I'm pretty sure
that
was
is important.
That was like part of the recipe. But point being is that like I'm not afraid to share our recipe. And I don't think we should be. I don't want to live like afraid like Krusty Krab, like Mr. Krabs. I don't think that's a good way to do business.
The thing with our recipe too is, as we've talked about before, you can replicate it. It's not easy though. It's going to take you time. It takes a lot of practice, and it takes a while to get up to speed.
It's also always
always changing.
What?
It's always changing.
Dude.
Like, this recipe. Sometimes we got the chipotle aioli. Other days we got the mayo. It changes every day.
Well, the burger recipe, it can be the same for like 150 years. Like at the Oyster House in Boston, they literally hand out the recipe if you ask for it to make their clam chowder or whatever it is. Like they don't care, and then the recipe's been the same for 150 years. They're not afraid of someone taking, because you can't steal the experience they're giving. That restaurant was started in like the 1600s. Like you can't it's been around since then. That's what the experience is all about. The food is great, but at the end of the day, it's about the experience. So point being, though, is that like, yeah, our recipe is always changing. So we have to be constantly updating it. And what you see 6 months ago on YouTube probably isn't as relevant now. So we got to stay up to date, which...
That just made me think, too, like a really good process improvement, at least for the onboarding process, would be to send clients a video of exactly how we do it. And maybe it's a condensed version, like 3 minutes, but...
Just so they're aware of what we do, or why do you want to do that?
And so they could like potentially do it themselves if they want. Like maybe it's an initial person we're meeting. It's not like, they're ready to sign on. Because if they're ready to sign on, they probably just don't have the time or bandwidth.
Yeah.
But like... If you want to do it yourself, like this is how we do it.
I like that. That's such a power move.
Yeah,
that's such a
just do it yourself.
Yeah,
I can't. Okay, we'll do it for you then.
Yeah, no, I so resonate with that because at the end of the day, that's what most people don't know how to do what we do in the first place, but also like even the people that do know how to do what we do, like they only have so much time. So the done for you service, there will always be room for a done for you service, Like I think the hardest part with the done for you service, though, honestly, is just pricing. Figure out and we had a conversation earlier about this, and we could probably talk about it again and again and again. But pricing is so hard, and getting your offering right, and making it work for various sizes of organizations, and making it work with your business. It's freaking hard. But so yeah, we're thinking of how do we, and I mean, I don't know. We want to build a business that creates freedom in our lives, right? Like. We don't always want to be slogged down in the services industry. Like it's kind of, I think it's in the long run, it's kind of a means to an end. Would you agree?
I would agree entirely. And part of the reason I think you're bringing that up is because we talked a bit about this offline where we could offer sort of a consulting service where, maybe it's a couple $100 an hour and we teach you or somebody on your team how to do it. But then we realized that's renting out our time. And we'll have to show up to these calls maybe once a week. But if it's with multiple people, obviously it's a lot. And that is not conducive to freedom whatsoever. Well, that is putting more calls on your schedule.
This is my thinking, though, is that like it's a good bridge to get to the next step. So like right now, like all of our clients it's service, like it's the done for you service. And we're doing everything for them, and it's a lot of heavy lifting, and but they're paying us like $500 to $2,000 a month, and depending on the client, and that's going to change over the future. But we also like if we're going to create a course that someone can learn from, maybe that's a $50 offering, maybe that's a $200 offering. I don't know. At the end of the day, courses are all about like accountability, I think, and did you actually use it? I don't know. Pricing for courses may even be harder than pricing for a service. It's crazy the variability out there. But I do think there's kind of an intermediary. It's just like maybe our services, are a few thousand a month, and then we do have a course which you can do yourself, but then it's $50 one time, and you get access to it. It's pretty affordable. Like a freelancer that is in college could buy it, and they could maybe make a career out of it. And great, that's a ton of value for them. But then maybe there's like an intermediary where it's $1,000 or a $2,000 one-time fee, and it's not only the course, but you also get like the live training. Because at the end of the day, I think even if you go through a training, like you're always going to have questions. Like that's the point of having like, I'm not going to call them a teacher. It's more like a guide. Like you need someone that you can ask questions from, and you have to contextualize help them build a strategy, things like that. So that service or that training model would be like, maybe it's $1,500 one time, and they go through our course, and then once a week we have a 30-minute call with them, one-on-one, and if they have questions about a specific platform, like we'll just show them like in real time. Or if they have questions about strategy, and we can talk through it with them. Maybe that's 4 30-minute calls. So it's like 2 hours of our time, probably plus some prep. So call it like 3 to 4 hours. And if we're charging $1,000 to $1,500, it's like $200, $250 per hour of if we're doing it. And then there's like the course is part of it. But I think so. Like obviously the margins for that are way higher. It does require us to take time to do it, and to like go through the training with them. But I think that for some of like the corporate clients that we're working with that maybe have like a marketing team and they just don't feel empowered like they can do this, I think that training program, I don't think the course would be enough. Like, I think they need the live coaching, you know?
Yeah. And I have 2 points off of that I just thought of. One thing, I love how with the live coaching, you're literally talking to your customer and learning how you can improve the training / course as it's literally going on.
That's true.
Which is awesome. And I feel like it would be really good for us to start with us doing it. But a thing I just thought of is, as time goes on and we train, maybe it's our first 5 or 10 people, we could potentially even, maybe it's 10 people, the best 3 people,
hire them,
who we think are really on top of it, really killer. We start paying them a like per session fee or something to be the coach or the trainer, teacher, whatever you want to call it.
True.
That we are no longer doing it for like everyone. It's almost like an exponential thing. Like we start off with 5 customers and we teach 2 of them to be really good. They teach 15 more people, and then 5 more of those become teachers. And then, maybe we have 10 different teachers that can meet with new people who are taking the course. And, as a business owner, we'll probably charge $100 for the training session, and we pay, the trainee $50. And that's another source of income for them, not just for freelancing for a company, but also by teaching what they've learned.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
quality control is an issue there.
Definitely, but we can make it work. I really like that idea.
It'd probably be a small core group of like 3 or 5 people, and maybe you have like weekly updates of like, this is what's changed, this is what's better. Yeah, I mean, as long as you like don't blow it out, keep it kind of controlled, I think it could work pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like there's such a huge opportunity here in that, like, repurposing is going to be a role at organizations. It's going to be a job title. Like, in the past, like it's going to grow a ton, and I think it makes sense even if you have like a 4-person social media team, like relatively extremely a startup or something. Like, I think one person should be fully focused on repurposing and distribution. Right now, I think that probably gets chalked up to like a social media manager or like a social media administrative assistant. But I think that there's going to be so many people that we can help out through this in the long run. I'm thinking like 4 or 5 years. And if we can create a foundation now for it, as far as like the courses and becoming thought leaders in the space, which we're already doing, then I think we can help a lot of people, which is what builds a sustainable business in the long run. So, but what I was going to say is, I think there's a distinction here too between like if you're just a solo podcaster, say someone like Danny Miranda, like, who awesome dude, young, he's like a little younger than us. We worked with him in the past a little bit, and like
25.
He's super motivated. Is he 25?
I know. I'm saying we're 25. People want reference. 24 still for a month.
Dude, was your birthday yet? Oh no, your birthday's. I won't say that. Is that private information?
The 1st of April. I'm a joke. You can say it. Yeah.
You're a joke, man. Ooh. I never even thought of that, but it is kind of funny.
April Fool's, baby.
But okay, so like if you're super intrinsically motivated, like Danny Miranda, like he could take a $50 course and I think take it home and like learn a ton from it because he's so motivated. Like, this is like deeply ingrained. Like, he's gonna make his podcast work. Like, he's a driver, versus like someone who's working at maybe like a 500-person organization and is on their social media team. Like, they do their job, they're grateful for their job, they do good work, but like, how much motivation do they have to like take a course that's gonna help them do their job a little bit better? How much time do they even have? You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like they're doing it because maybe their boss is telling them that you need to learn this, but I feel like they need someone additional that's there as a guide, that's like one of us, maybe, that's like a coach that's there with them by their side. most importantly, helping them stay accountable. Like they have a meeting weekly on their schedule. Like if they're going to show up to that meeting, they've got to take advantage of it. And also like if they know that their company just spent $50 on some random course, like how much are they going to value it versus like if the company spends $2,000 on like a training program, I think they're going to be a little bit more motivated to like really go all in and make it work and learn from it. So there's almost like a psychological component to, first of all, like the amount of money they're spending, but also the fact that you have a meeting to show up to every week for a month where you're going to learn this. So I think there's something there.
A lot of it comes down to incentive alignment as well.
Yeah.
At least with the bigger corporations, like how do you incentivize these social media managers, video editors to really want to improve the product they're putting out?
Instead of just doing the status quo.
Yeah, maybe you pay them some money to do the course as well, or maybe we offer a deal where it's like, yeah, it's $1,000, but you got to give your video editor $500 or something or maybe we send them like a cool present at the end of the course. Like what's going to make them, these are details, not super important, but
that's why we're talking
incentives
about
are very important.
Trying to talk through the details.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll give them pizza.
Pizza, yeah. No.
Food motivates me. Gets me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, send them something from DoorDash every time we have a meeting.
I actually like that a lot. That's like a very nice thing to do.
I get some sales emails where like people are like, "I'll send you a DoorDash code to hop on the phone with you."
Dude, I don't.
I feel bad.
What's
It's always stuff we never need, but it sounds pretty nice. I don't know. It's classic like startup culture where they raised money or have a bunch of money that send people anything.
Remember, I got grilled. I was sending out cold emails about 2 podcasters saying that if they booked a call with us, we would send them free stickers of their podcast, which I think is kind of cool. Like it'd be of their podcast art. So I think
Did you tell them it was of the podcast, or they think it was authentic stickers?
I think it was pretty clear that it was custom stickers for their podcast, but I got called out one day. Someone posted a screenshot on Twitter of the email.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, this is not how to do it. This is not how to send. Like, you're asking for my time in exchange for stickers? And
no chill.
But the best thing came out of it. Like, I responded. I was like, this is totally my email. I think this is so funny that this is posted. Like, I want to do better. And now that person who kind of roasted us, is a friend and social media friend. So that is, I think it's pretty cool. But yeah,
back to the topic at hand.
Stickers. Do better than stickers. I don't know. I think that I thought it was pretty
I love
cool.
stickers. I think it depends on the person, maybe
totally. You can't please everyone.
Got in front of the wrong one.
You can't please everyone.
No, you can't. You can barely please 10% of people with a cold email.
Yeah.
Probably less.
Even the nicest, most amazing people on planet Earth have haters, and you can't escape it. The more, especially when you have eyeballs on you. I mean, we got our first hate mail 2 weeks ago on our squat video. Remember that?
Yeah, on YouTube, they told us our squats weren't low enough. They thought they were hilarious. They were pretty funny.
They said,
but
in response, they said they were drunk when they watched it.
Sorry, mate, I had a few cheeky pints and was just having some fun.
I'm just so glad someone watched that video that I have no idea who that person is. I thought it might be his aunt or something.
No, yeah, not affiliated.
That's great.
You're just
that's a milestone.
Some YouTube troll who had a few too many Carlsbergs, I think.
Yeah.
They seemed European. They said something like British or something.
Yeah, I mean, but do you want to talk about marginal? When we were talking about this.
Yeah, marginal replication.
What even is that?
So it's just I think it was coined in tech, but it's basically just the idea that you make one of something and it can be sold or used thousands of times. So what's an example? You make one Instagram app and a billion people can use it. So you make one thing, but it can be used by a bunch of different people. And so by adding in a consulting type teaching service, it's not marginally replicable.
Yeah.
A lot of words here. because we have to be there for each session.
Yeah.
But if we were to make a course, we make one course and we can sell it to 1 million people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need us to be there. So it's kind of just like making software and technology work for you instead of you having to show up to something every time. Like imagine there was like a person behind your phone, like saying, all right, they're going to press this story on Instagram. I have to press that one for them behind the scenes. Like, no, it's absurd. So it's just a way to automate things. It's literally just automation.
I thought it was a pretty good explanation, I think. Yeah. I mean,
and so why we bring this up is because it would be nice to create, I mean, a course is that you can create it once and sell it a bunch. The problem with courses right now, I'd say, is they are so, I would say, oversaturated to an extent. Maybe not, but maybe good ones or useful ones.
Yeah.
So
I just think there's too many general courses out there. Like, like there's going to be, I think in the grand scheme of things, we're in the very beginning of like online course creation. Like, it's only going to get better. And I think that there's so much opportunity there. And also, like, what's that bias towards recency? Recency bias?
Recency bias.
It's like where like things that are created recently that are new are seen as more valuable. So that like 10 years from now, like the repurposing course that we create today is going to be so irrelevant. And not only because strategies will change.
Unless we keep repurposing posts about it and posting it again.
And updating it all the time. And we'll have to if it's going to be a good course. But like also though that people don't want to watch a YouTube video that was created more than 2 years ago. Like people want to watch the YouTube video that was created 2 weeks ago or a week ago or today. So
well, to an extent they do. If it has like notoriety or
that's fair.
It's kind of like it's somewhere in the middle, you know. It's like almost like the old ones are like very valuable that actually like have some semblance to them and a lot of views or likes, and then it's like the recent stuff. I feel like the stuff in between is what gets lost, but the old stuff because it's like Lindy or whatever, which means
Lindy
like,
effect.
As long as it's been around, it'll probably last that much longer.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's somewhere like in between. Gets thrown away.
Well, yeah, I think marginal. What's it called again? Marginal. Replication. Is there any? I mean, I also think that
all right, this is an easier way to put it
is
for some
maybe
people.
Another word for it. I guess that's more in the service business though, that it's talked about.
Yeah, an easy way to think about it is Jack Butcher always says this on Twitter. It's like his life motto or his business motto: build once, sell twice.
Yeah,
you can just think about it that way.
Sick.
It's way simpler.
Build once, sell twice. Yeah,
but you can sell it 3 times.
Is pizza marginally replicable or like a hamburger food? No, because you have to put it's one product, but you have to put input and time into it each time it sells. Yep. What about like apparel, like clothing?
No.
Okay, so this only is really applicable in like what about books? Still not books. I feel like books.
So ebooks are not a physical book.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like if we're talking about marginal replicability in terms of business, like. We want to create freedom in our business. That means that each time we want to have people be able to get value from our business and our services without us necessarily having to be there. I feel like there's a few ways to attain that. Like we can have an amazing team behind us for our services that are so good that they don't even need to like quote unquote use our knowledge or bother us in order to do their work and do it for our clients really well. Or you know, you sell a product, ideally something that is, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but like,
I mean, if you still want to clarify it, like a lot of the softwares we use are these, like Descript, they built the product as a team. All these people can use it.
Yeah. What?
And so for our business, SaaS businesses, software as a service businesses are all marginally replicable. We can't even get the word out. Whereas with our business, it's still high touch. We have people involved. Anything where like you're delivering work that's like kind of like different or like it's hard for us to automate our done for you service right now because the technology isn't there.
Yeah, that's fair. So,
and with a course, like it still seems like we could, get 80% of the way there with the course of teaching people, but the 20% of teaching is invaluable and feedback that is still necessary. So there's a way to, you know, mostly automate it, build once, sell twice, but it still seems like there is that high touch component that needs to be there. And it's about finding the best way to do that most efficiently, trying to make it marginally replicable or training people to do it, like you said, with like a team.
Yeah.
So that the idea is to try to get it as automated as possible.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a good question to consistently ask is that, like, are we actually building a business? You know, like, if we have to do all the work, we're not really building a business. We're building a really kind of like a job. And we're more like freelancers than an agency. And at the end of the day, you know, need more efficient systems, and like a course could be a way to do that, to service more people without a ton of input. And then I think like I was saying, I think the consulting model where we're doing live training is kind of a good intermediary. The only thing I don't like about the course and the live training versus our retainer model for our repurposing services is that it's not monthly recurring. So like you just have to continuously be selling in order to make revenue, versus with our retainer service, obviously there's churn. You're always losing clients, gaining clients, but it's, for the most part, it's like month in, month out, month in, month out. So I don't know. It'd be nice if there was a way to like have the course, but then also be able to make money on a recurring level with it over time. So I know that, like, you know, do you know what OTT is?
No.
It's also known as OTT broad. So like Netflix is an OTT, over the top media service. That's what it's known as, which makes it sound like over the top, like, oh, it's so crazy cool.
Yeah.
But like,
what is it? I don't get it.
What it means is you basically pay a subscription for access to a library of content. And I think this is where we're heading a lot with like Web3 and content creators owning more of their content, is having their own OTT services where their clients are basically, instead of going to YouTube to view their content, they're going to their website and viewing the content directly there, only if they're a subscriber. So like Vimeo actually has a most people don't know this, but it's really cool. And Vimeo has a way for you to build your own OTT service. So like you can upload a bunch of content to Vimeo, make it all private, and then it has like a way to charge people, you know, $4 per month, $30 per month for a library of content that only they have access to. So it's essentially like
I have a lot of thoughts on this topic.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you, are they good? Are they like, are you skeptical or are you excited? I don't know. It excites me.
No,
but
no, it's very exciting to me. And we've talked about this before, but I just think like with the whole Web3 movement and like kind of like how it's like you pay a subscription now, like if crypto or like layer 2 technologies become efficient enough where gas fees are low enough, like just microtransactions for watching a video or listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
Like maybe it ends up being like 2 cents or something, but you pay the creator directly instead of some intermediary like YouTube or Spotify. Like that really excites me. I should have to do 5 squats. I just said, but yeah, that's like what excites me. It's just like the direct connection between creators and their audience, as opposed to, you know, we've been using platforms as like a crutch, which is good. It was very helpful, and like I think it needed to happen, but I think we realize now it's time where we can actually go away from it and still have the same distribution.
Well, like right now, like on YouTube, like we don't yet have 1,000 subscribers. We've got a long way to go there, but we will get there. So we aren't YouTube partners yet. You have to have like 1,000 subscribers and like a certain number of watch time, like a certain number of hours of watch time. And then you can start monetizing your videos. But up until then, YouTube is collecting ad revenue off of your videos. So that right now, all the video content and all the time we put into video content on YouTube, like a lot of time, YouTube's making money off of right now. But it's part of our strategy for selling our services. So we also make money off of it too, technically, but not off of like the individual views. You know, we make money off of it because it establishes as thought leaders, things like that. And in the long run, I think that we will be able to monetize on YouTube, and I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I'm excited for OTT. I think the way that a lot of people are starting to use it is that, like, you set up a Patreon account. You have Patreon subscribers that pay you $5 a month, $10 a month. And those Patreon subscribers are basically entitled to seeing the content like a day early, a week early, a month early, earlier than anyone else would on YouTube. And they also get access to like exclusive content, whatever that means. And I think that could honestly...
You can see it if you pay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. And I don't have too many of those subscriptions, but
Jomez.
I would definitely... Jomez doesn't gate their content though. I know that they have, they have some gated content that's like behind the scenes, but I mostly just watch tournament coverage for Jomez and they end up posting that on YouTube anyway. So I would like to, I don't know. I know they make money off of me through views, but I think that to get back to my point is that's one way creators are starting to take more control is just like having their, not necessarily an OTT like Netflix, their own, but they just have a Patreon community and they get access to videos a week before anyone else would. And that, therefore people pay them $4 a month. And maybe they have 1,000 people that pay them $4 a month and that's $4,000 for that creator. And they're able to make a nice additional income from it. So I think that's an interesting way to do this too. I mean, we could do this with the business where like maybe our Patreon subscribers / OTT subscribers get the content like a month earlier. Like that's enough to, I feel like, see like the freshest updates in the repurposing world. And like we posted a month later and it goes to YouTube, and most of that will still be relevant, but not quite as exciting and relevant as when our subscribers, our OTT subscribers, got it day one when we published it. And maybe they're paying us $10 a month to get that like upfront first access. I think that's an interesting way to monetize. I've actually thought about that in the past, and I thought it would be a really good way to force me into getting a bank of content that's like scheduled out far in advance. So, yeah. But
it's a good question. How do you get that monthly recurring revenue coming in from a course or after somebody's finished a course?
Yeah. Well, like we said, if we're going to be constantly updating the course in like a library of content, maybe it's not something that's just a one-time fee. Maybe it's $9 a month and you get access to that. And then once a month, there's a group for all of our OTT subscribers. There's a group webinar with maybe there's like 200 people on it, and you and I are presenting. We're just talking about maybe the things that didn't make it into the videos that month that people can, should still take away. And maybe people can ask questions and make suggestions or stuff like that. But I think there's some interesting ways there. I think right now what we're most concerned with, like our priority is like we just need to get content out there and build it for the long run and get noticed and start building our thought leadership for what we do. Like that's the priority. But having some additional layers like OTT or like a course would be pretty sweet. But it takes a lot of work to build that out. So
I think we've talked about this before too, but like another option is instead of maybe charging people for the course and the training, instead of them coming from companies, we find freelancers or people online who want to start making a different source of revenue or money in their lives. Maybe it's a college student, could be a high school student, could be international talent, and we train them for free or whatnot, and then place them at companies as their video repurposer for say like $1,000 a month. They get 500, we get 500 for placing a trained. I mean, it's essentially recruiting.
Yeah.
Placing a trained video repurposer
we train them
within
for
your
free.
Organization. Yeah, we train them for free, but then we get paid by the company every month.
Yeah.
Maybe we get like a quarter of what they're like. They get they pay $1,000 a month to this person, and we get $250 of it.
Yeah.
Because we train them and we place them. It's kind of like you got to find the people though who need help, and then
it's kind of like those
it's like a marketplace, two-sided marketplace
programs, like the coding boot camps where they're free. They're free for like it's a year-long program, and then at the end of the year you get hired by a company, but then they pay you pay them 10% of your salary for like the first 5 years. Mm-hmm. So that's how the coding
Lambda School, I think, is the main
Lambda
one.
School, yeah. So they like make their money back basically through it's an interesting way to do education. Like it's really would that mean that we're a college? Or are we just educators? You don't have to be a college to be a teacher or be educators. You don't even have to be you don't even have to be a school to be teachers.
The only thing I don't like about that is like these people are almost like tied to paying you a tithe every month.
That's what it feels like to me. It's almost like you're paying.
It feels like, we have them like strapped in. Like,
yeah.
All right, as long as you're here, you're paying us $250. So I almost don't like it. I would almost prefer like a placement fee and like
I like the placement fee.
All you instead of like constantly like it feels like leeching off them in a way. Even though it's like kind of valid and fair because we taught them, we placed them. There's a lot of value in recruiting. Does a traditional recruiting contract? It's mostly a one-time fee, right? It's not like a recurring.
No. There a lot of recruiting contracts are like a percentage of their salary or like an additional fee on top.
Okay, so it's probably on top.
Yeah,
okay.
and like there
Maybe
are
that's
a lot
more
of
the fair way to
like
do
signing bonus. It's different. It's called contract, where you get a one-time fee, and then there's perm, which is like permanent, and they are paid on then you're paid on a monthly basis as which is
Need to get Ballard as a guest.
Yeah,
run us through.
No, I know he could teach us so much, but yeah, what's interesting about like a recruiting agency though is like recruiting agencies, they don't teach you how to be better at your career. What they do teach you how to do, like if you're trying to get hired at a company, they will teach you how to do well for your interview. Like recruiting companies do this, like they know the questions that the interviewers are going to ask the potential job candidates, and they help the job candidates prepare for that, trying to make the job candidate look attractive to the employer and get hired essentially, which is really interesting. So like there is some training there, but like at the end of the day, they're not doing anything to level up their knowledge in their career. They are just helping them get to the next destination, kind of, which is cool. People need changes. People need to get paid what they deserve, and our generation. I think the average of like staying in the same role is like 1 year for their first job or something like that. It's insane. I think we've seen that with a lot of our friends too. It's like so much change, but
cool thing I just thought of too is I don't know if we'd want to do this, but could be like an in-person repurposing workshop, or maybe 3 or 4 times a year, depending on where we are. We could go off-site. Yeah, a repurposing
Salt
summit.
Lake City.
Send your, and maybe it's people similar age, so it's like I don't know. So it's like fun, and you can like, have events at night. Maybe you're in Salt Lake City. There's an option to go skiing for the morning, and then have a session in the afternoon, and then you can all go have fun somewhere at night, whether it be dinner, going to play pool, or have a few drinks, whatever you're into.
It could be secluded with no Wi-Fi in the middle of the nowhere.
Of the nowhere.
Because
my favorite place.
if you just like if you were to send your repurposer to the summit, you just download all the content beforehand from like your past episodes and webinars and stuff, and then for a week straight or 2 weeks straight, they're working with no distractions.
That's a lot of time.
Only focused on repurposing that past leverage, that past content, and then by the end of it, they have like 100 pieces of content, and they bring it back. And I think that'd be so interesting. Like literally no distractions. I think stuff like that is going to work in the future. Like the problem with repurposing is it often gets placed on the back burner because there's so many things that you could be doing. There's new content you're working on. There's other marketing initiatives as well. That doesn't mean repurposing isn't very important to like continuing your growth. It's just that I think that because you're leveraging past content that's already there, sometimes it feels like it can happen tomorrow, versus some other things feel like they have to be done now. So if you can just eliminate distractions, you're going to repurpose more effectively. And that's why I think that people want to work with an agency like us, is because they just send us their content, we repurpose it for them, we don't get distracted, we do our job and do it effectively, and they don't even have to worry about it. Like, so I almost feel like half of the problem with repurposing is just making people not get distracted. Therefore, cabin in the woods.
lock them in a cabin for 2 weeks, France says, and make them make 100 pieces of content. That sounds like a
All
great
right.
way to burn
All
out.
right, you're
hate,
going
hate
to
repurposing content for the rest of your
Alaska,
life.
and you're not coming back until we have an entire year of content.
I was thinking more like 2 or 3 days where you just come in and we
Months.
teach you the ropes, and like maybe there's a contest at the end where you repurpose couple pieces of your content, and we put them up on the big screen, and the winner gets $5,000 or something, or an all exclusive paid trip to North Shore of Hawaii.
That'd be pretty cool.
Go surfing.
I mean, yeah. But I feel like we mentioned a few things today about, so like, I thought the one really cool thing that you brought up that I hadn't thought of before is when we're working with a done-for-you client with our services, we should just send them our process and they can watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally us being so bold and unapologetic about, yes, we're the ones that we're confident in our ability to do this. If you want to do it, great, but it's probably pretty unlikely. In order for us to send them a document like that, like we need like something pretty nicely polished and packaged.
And I kind of talked about doing that with Chris, who's a video editor. Yeah, it's something I feel like we should, and it could be on the front of our website even too. Like,
Yeah, this is how we do it.
Necessarily just, it could be totally public.
I mean, right now, like you could go on our YouTube and learn a lot, but it's kind of a little bit, it's not as structured. So like you'd have to sift through some stuff, and I think we could even build like a playlist on YouTube. But so for marginal replicability and us building a sustainable product, like obviously we want to build a business that can grow consistently and also that gives us freedom as business owners in the long run.
Can grow without us as well. Yeah,
Can work without us and give value without us. Yeah. In order for us to do that, we need to build a paid that is either a course or an OTT, over the top media service. It's kind of like Netflix, or some type of community where you get access to other people. We need to build that.
I just thought like it seems like a combination of the two is best. Like a one-time paid course with an option, if you got value from it, to get the ongoing content of how we're improving it.
Yeah.
And
Access
maybe
to
there's
community.
a mastermind within there.
Yeah.
Access to community, access to our Discord.
Yeah. No, I think there's value to community. I mean,
You ever see that guy Dave Gerhard? Sorry
Yeah.
if I'm botching your
Yeah.
name, Dave. Yeah, so he started like a whole marketing group on, I think predominantly through LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a course or anything, but I mean, he gave out basically free courses on LinkedIn with all of his content, and then monetized that way. So I think a combination of the both. I mean, the course in a way almost, just solidifies your part as a thought leader in the space.
That is true.
One of them. So sorry, I cut you off.
I'm kind of like wrapping up some ideas here and bringing it all and trying to bring it together. I mean, and then you also talked about how obviously if we're going to do live training and consulting with corporations, with people who want to learn how to do this themselves and be held accountable, there has to be a course component to it as well. So kind of everything we talked about as far as creating an OTT, like doing the live consulting and training, sending our process to our clients, and also creating a course that's marginally replicable, affordable for people to do on their own. It requires us to create a course. And I think my hesitation in the past to do that has been about some imposter syndrome. Like, do I feel ready to create a course that is good enough to be sold? And I think that's like, it's just taken time to get over that imposter syndrome of like, holy crap, we have learned so much and have like dug ourselves such a deep trench of knowledge in this area that we have something really special and unique to bring to the world. I think everyone that is like in consulting or in the agency space or like has that imposter syndrome at one point or another. But then also that like courses kind of skeeve me out. Like,
me too.
Yeah. When I see other people advertising their courses, like I just, and I bought some in the past and I've had good experiences with courses, but I also have like kind of a distaste in my mouth about them a lot of the time because I just feel like they don't get utilized the way they should. And so just doing this in a way that like feels like really genuine and authentic. Like I know that if we create a course and someone goes through it and follows the steps, it's totally going to be worth it. Like, but just the way it's perceived. And, you know, that leads me to think like what you mentioned, that idea with the training is free. And then maybe once you're trained, we help place people, or also some ideas around like pay what you want course, or the course is this amount. And then if you're not satisfied with the course, it's 100% refundable. Like something like that. Just honestly, not that I'm not confident that the course is valuable. It's just that I just don't like the way it's perceived. And I don't know, maybe that's a roadblock. Maybe that's a mental block to get over. But
the thing I feel like we kind of want with the course too is like, the thing that's more attractive to me is bringing the person from making $0 a month to $1,000 a month. Like they see the progress after they've done the course and it improves their life and they can actually make money with it.
Saying the freelancers, from the freelancer perspective?
Yeah. So like that's way more attractive to me than like working with, or it'll be attractive to them as well compared to somebody who works at a company. They're going to do our course and their life doesn't change at all from it besides, you know, putting out some better content.
Yeah. Well, what about this too? Is like we haven't really mentioned affiliate links in the past so like that's a way to create marginally replicable income is through affiliate links. Things like the Blue Yeti, the microphones we're using, things like
maybe Descript,
like Veed, Canva.
Sure, yeah, I've been affiliate
so like maybe
yeah.
if the course is free, and then at the end of it and throughout it we say, hey, like obviously we're always going to be recommending SaaS platforms. And if we can just make $2 a month off of their Descript subscription over the 3 years, 10 years that they use it, that's like some pretty substantial income.
That's a really good idea.
So it's almost like, and right now we have some affiliate links. Like I have a document set up that's on my bookmarks that like whenever we advocate for a new platform, like Reincubate Camo or something, I like add the affiliate link to it, and then it just makes it easier for me to like share that on the YouTube videos. But the way I'm sharing it right now, I don't feel like people are going to use it all that often, like the affiliate links. But if people are going through our course and throughout it, we're saying, hey, like the way you support this course is by using our affiliate links to get the equipment, get the software that you need in order to actually accomplish this. That could be an interesting way for us to make revenue.
It just always makes me think recurring revenue is far superior than one time.
In recurring revenue
it's
through
like
SaaS.
Yeah.
Basically, if we've never made none of our affiliate links, I don't think, have ever been used at this point. We also haven't like been seriously promoting them. Like they're at the bottom of our YouTube descriptions, like kind of hidden. Like I'm actually kind of embarrassed to share them. Like, if you'd like to support our channel,
why?
Because I just don't know how to talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I have a tendency and a bias towards being.
There's a time and place.
Being like not trying to push things on people, and they're instead trying to invite them in. That's kind of my tendency. So, but at the end of the day, if they're going to be using these platforms anyways, why not have them use your affiliate link, and why not help them and also get income so that you can support your future work? Like that'd be a really interesting way to look at it. So like imagine this, if like I mentioned earlier on our YouTube, if our goal is to train 1,000 freelancers to create careers out of repurposing, and we could just make $5 a month from each of them through the affiliate links they have set up with all these platforms, then we could be potentially making $5,000 a month in additional income that's completely marginally replicable and recurring from those efforts. That's interesting.
I think your head's in the right spot. Yeah, something of that nature is.
We could still charge for the course too and have these affiliate links, but yeah. I'm almost thinking that like I like with the course, like the idea of just making it 100% refundable. I mean, at the end of the day, almost any product that you sell, if you truly stand by it, I think you offer a refund guarantee. It's like if you're not, that's how all these mattress companies have been successful on, is and this isn't why they're entirely successful, but like they're like
companies.
all these mattress companies have these guarantees now. It's like, try it for 60 days, and if you don't like it, then you can just return it for a full refund.
Really?
I feel like
I didn't know that.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean that gives people so much confidence in that. It's probably very rare that people actually return them, you know. And I think that if we had a course that was 100% refundable, it would be unlikely that people would take advantage of it all that often. Sure, some people would, but like if that happens, like it happens, you know.
The good thing with marginal replication too is like it doesn't really hurt us to give you the money back unless you're asking
That's
like
true.
maybe a
That's
year
true.
later and we don't have any money left from it or something.
That's true.
So it's like it's totally valid. Even that it doesn't. Yeah, I totally agree. Like if we do it 100%, that should be the case. And like I bet 99% of people won't anyways because we'll make it good enough.
Yeah. Dude,
And valuable enough.
We have literally mentioned, it's crazy. We've mentioned like 7 different ways to drive income in this through our business in this one call. Obviously services, then the consulting, coaching, then the course, then affiliate links, OTT, over the top media service, recruiting freelancers to work with corporations, 6, and then like maybe one other. I don't know.
Monetizing YouTube.
But right now we're making, monetizing YouTube. And yeah, right now
7
all of our
streams.
income is coming through the services business. And imagine like when we have all this stuff built out and it's just a, like, I feel like a more firmly planted tree that's feeding us because it's diversified. That's really exciting to me.
Yeah, we definitely need to diversify more.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like the first step into doing it.
Yeah. I also think, though, that everything that we're doing with courses and with content on YouTube supports our service business. Like, for the next year, 2 years,
funnel.
maybe 3 years, like, the service business is still going to be our bread and butter. And, you know, at the end of the day, the only reason that we can create a course in this space is because we have so many reps through our services business in doing this for our clients. Like, otherwise we wouldn't even have 2 feet to stand on creating a course. So the service is great, but that won't leave for any time soon. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think we need to do? I feel like this was a pretty good conversation, but where does it take us?
I think we need to continue doing the stuff we're doing. I think creating and posting content is going to be a big part of obviously driving people to be interested in our Done For You service, but also if we create a course, like we need to be thought leaders already, I feel like, for it to have some validity. And then, I mean, I think really start creating the course one video at a time.
Yeah.
And what does it look like?
The
What do we
problem is
build
all my
on?
best stuff right now that in all the tutorials we're creating, I just want to post them. I want to get them on YouTube. I don't want to hold them back.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, you can.
I know, but I feel like it's not the right time. Like, I don't know. I think we need that. We need that organic growth, and we need to get to a certain point on YouTube before we start gating content. But maybe that's not true. I mean, I talked about earlier, like having the early release schedule where people can pay for getting the content earlier.
Yeah,
There's a way
we're definitely not at that point yet.
Yeah, there's a way to charge for communities. I mean, I got an email from Descript the other day that they're trying to set us up with an affiliate link, and
Oh, cool.
so that could be cool.
I feel like we're not in front of a lot of freelancers.
Yeah,
We're more in front of like companies and people doing podcasting / webinars.
yep,
So an interesting step could be trying to cater some of our content not only to those people, but freelance people of the freelance community. And I'm not really sure where they're hanging out. I mean, they definitely are on LinkedIn a bit. They're probably on Twitter.
I think YouTube
It'd be cool if you could post
is where they're learning.
content to Upwork.
Dude, we can.
There's a-
One of our most viewed videos on YouTube is because you posted a link to our tutorial on Upwork, and
Oh, yeah, true.
remember that. Honestly, like I was like that could be a growth strategy for us. Like we're looking for people to do this.
I forgot about that.
People view it, and then I mean we should
the
only do it
chapters one?
genuinely if we're actually looking for people that are trying to do it. But
yeah, of course.
It gave us, once you get traction on YouTube, that helps with the future views too. So it helps a ton. But all this.
So what were you thinking? Like just keep creating content, and then when we get to a point where it makes sense to make the course, to make it?
I almost think that the course, like we have so much content on YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn, like that stuff is, the problem is that like, I think in order for a course to be effective, it needs to be whittled down into only the essentials. Yep. And so to some extent, like maybe we could repurpose the content we've been creating and then just put it, and of course, that doesn't feel right to me, like selling something that we've already posted publicly. But the thing is, you're not really paying for the organization. And, you know, maybe if there is a 1 hour call at the end of the course, then that's really the value we're providing. So maybe that is our first step. And that's why I thought that the consulting model, where it's like $1,000 for the training, you get 4 coaching calls with us, was like a good step towards creating the course, because I don't think that building the course is going to take a little bit more time than we think. And I also want to be posting most of the content we're creating publicly already. And I think that a lot of the value comes in the one-on-one conversation that would happen between you and I and the person that's learning. So like, I think it could be a way to get moving in that direction. So the way we could organize it too is like with, you know, like Eris text messaging platform, learning platform.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of YouTube videos, and maybe they're not perfectly organized. Maybe the course could, like, we created one of these before where it was like 14 questions that will help you think better, more innovatively about your marketing. But the course is basically just a text message a day, a 3-minute video. And we're already compiling a good amount of 3-minute videos on our YouTube. So like what you're paying for is like the text message automation of the course. It's like they know that the content's already out there, but like you're going to get it sent to you in like a strategic, like a regimented way. And then at the very end of it, you get a 1 hour call with us. And that's $184.23. And yeah, $184 is kind of a lot for a course, but $150 of it is because we're spending an hour of our time coaching you one-on-one. The other $30 is like the organization of delivering the course to you on a consistent basis. So
this is just a thought too.
Yeah.
Charging for corporations, it could be like, you know, $500. For freelancers, it could be free. This is just the models I was talking about earlier. And then once they start making money, they pay you back. Just something to think about.
The freelancer?
Because I'd feel bad, you know, charging a freelancer who's just starting to try to make money, $500 or $200 or $100.
Like it could almost be an honor system. Like, obviously, yeah, if you're a corporation and you're hiring, you know, you're going to have to pay. If you're a freelancer trying to learn. But that doesn't solve the problem of us creating the course.
Yeah.
Which is, I think what does the course format need to be? Is it 3 1-hour videos? Is it 10 2-minute videos? I don't know. Matthew Bigger, good guy, course creator. I bought one of his courses before. I thought it was helpful. I got some like useful nuggets from it that I use on a pretty consistent basis. Talks about micro courses, and just people always overcomplicate courses at first and they try to make it this behemoth. But if you just keep it simple and like maybe it's just 10 2-minute videos, like that can be enough.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking for each step of the process, we have as concisely as possible, but still all the required information to create the best work. It's like, how do you pick a clip? Yeah. How do you create one of the tough parts with
Separated.
the course would be like,
Yeah.
The problem with like repurposing in general as well is like it's hard to teach somebody to pick a good clip. It really comes down to a lot of judgment. We can give you some tactics to help, but then also a whole new skill set comes in where template design, if you're doing a template, that's like a totally different skill set.
Graphic designer, yeah, for that.
Yeah.
Someone who's aware, not only just a good graphic designer, but they have to be able to use styling from the corporation. Like they have to be able to adapt to
That's
their
a whole
style.
course in itself right there.
Yeah.
of like a graphic design course.
For the clips that I was thinking, sorry, you go ahead. I'll hold on with that.
Well, I was just saying maybe we need to simplify what they're making, or maybe, with the course we give them a template.
I do like
that. Would make it way easier.
I do like that a lot. What I was going to say for the clips, how do you choose a good clip? We need to have a video where we show examples of good clips and we show examples of bad clips. And it has nothing to do with the headline or the subtitles. It's more about the clip you pull.
It's being said.
It's like, did you pull a clip that they were halfway in between their thought, and at the end of the thought, it just cuts off and like the video is incoherent? Or did you pick...
We've had freelancers do that before, by the way. And you
think they just went through...
You don't have to tell people, but you do.
Yeah. But, what I was going to say, you mentioned something else about...
graphic design?
Setting people up with templates. So, like, that's another way we can make revenue is... Number 8 is, like, I think that as an additional part of that $1,000, $2,000 consulting training program where you're giving them the course and then you're doing the 4 1-hour training sessions, like, you help them build a template that they're happy with, like, to get going, and that's something that I know that there's someone I met on Instagram. Their name was like Jackie Flip, and she was doing audiogram designs. It was like podcast art designs. It was a productized price. It was somewhat affordable, but also like definitely worth her time. And it would be like the background for the audiogram and I think a thumbnail for the podcast. And I think that that's very helpful for a lot of corporations or freelancers that are trying to do it themselves. And we did that when we were first doing voice videos. We hired Erica to do a design for us for voice videos. You and I didn't have the confidence yet to do graphic design well enough, I think, to create something that we were really proud of. We've gotten really good since then. But
part of the issue with graphic design is you think it's like some like far off, like, whoa. But then you start like doing it little by little and you can totally build the skill. I mean, it's some people are just naturally gifted to make like really cool stuff, but pretty much everybody can get at least, 80, 90% of the way there where you can make some really cool looking stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that's one of the skills that we've learned too at this point that I think we underestimate is that just the building the templates in and of themselves there's a lot of value there.
Ton.
And again, there's like a million service offerings that we can build here. We could build them all, test them all. We kind of just have to pick and choose. So,
yeah, no, focus on one at a time.
So, again, where do we start?
I think personally we just keep building up the YouTube. Basically try to make we haven't fully fleshed out the entire process on YouTube yet. We had that document. We didn't finish it. It kind of just fell to the wayside. I mean, I'm working through those topics. But what I've also realized is that Descript has gotten so much better for the comprehensive process. So fast.
That we can do Descript basically we can basically use Descript for the whole process. And
soon it will be the whole process. Yeah.
But also
once you can plug in a template.
Yeah. No, we need to work through that. And if we're going to make our course materials free at first, then why not host them on YouTube, make them public? We need SEO value or get SEO value from them in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think that we really could just having what if we just had an email basically drip campaign where we have all this content on YouTube. The way I want to build that content out is I want to have some long form videos where it goes through the whole process in just one video, but I also want to have a bunch of granular videos where it focuses on just one step of the process, like super hyper specific, one thing at a time that helps people learn consistently. I think having an email, a 30-day email campaign, each day you learn a new step of the repurposing process. By the end of it, you're going to be a capable repurposer, and basically that's how we acquire someone's email, and then from there we can do kind of anything with their email under, just ethical, of course. Send them cat gifts.
Send them memes, yeah.
And
I might actually like that compared to other stuff they get.
Yeah, and then maybe, have we talked about this before? But at the end of that course, that's when we try to sell them the 1 hour coaching call directly with us to work through problems. Yeah. But
I'd like to do it beforehand personally, but just so they know what they're getting into. That feels like we didn't do well enough for you. Here's an hour-long call for $100 that you're probably going to need.
Well, I think if you're going to do a call with someone, you need to do it in the middle of the course training, maybe before, in the middle, and at the end. Like, it can't just all be at the beginning. It can't just all be at the end. It needs to be kind of like throughout. Or, yeah, I think at least if you're going to offer it to the best of the abilities. But I agree. I think for now, all of our best stuff still needs to go on YouTube. I think that's what's best for the long run. But we can still build an offering off of that content. That's either
honestly what we need to do, and we've talked about this, is start using this course for internal purposes first.
Yeah.
Test it out, iron it out. I think that's the first thing we need to do. We need to kind of like, start piecing it together, use it internally. I mean, all of our people now like are up to date and know everything. But like if we add a new contractor or whatnot, and then once we think it's we can train somebody fully through it.
Yeah, it's got to be good enough for us before it's good enough for other people.
So the interesting thing I just thought about, which is kind of some dissonance between how we do things and what the course is teaching, is our team, they each do a part versus the course is kind of teaching the person to become an all-encompassing repurposer.
Yeah. Yeah, like right now someone from our team picks the clip, someone does the graphic design, someone adds the subtitles and motion graphics. Yeah,
so like I have individual processes and documents / videos for them to watch, but it's like one at a time.
Yeah, we did that because it's like the assembly line model. It's like the most. It's like everyone focuses on what they're best at, and focuses on that. I think that's good internally, but for these, if you're just, and also it works well for working with multiple clients, like, because we're not just working on one podcast or webinar or live stream series, like, but if you're a freelancer and you're working with just one organization, you only need to know their one design, their one template, their one way of doing things. Like, I feel like you can be you can be a Swiss Army knife and make it work, versus like we need to have those processes in the assembly line because we are working with like an array of companies. So that factors into it. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, the course would go over each of the part of the process, and we could just, if we wanted to train someone on one piece of the process, then they could just watch those few videos. Like, you don't have to go through the whole thing, which is one of the good things about separating the course into pieces. Is it's not a 2-hour long video that you can just get lost in. It's a slow drip over time, which I think is the best way to learn things. Is you build a foundation, you build a little wider and a little wider and a little wider. It's not just dumped on you all at once. I don't think that works.
Yeah. Cool incentive structure I just thought of is like, if you finish the course and send us, 2 pieces of content you made afterwards, we'll send you like $100.
I like that idea.
Amazon gift card or Uber Eats.
The course needs to have materials that you can use as examples. Like, it needs, like, we should have a podcast that they could just download at the beginning, upload it to Descript or add it to iMovie if they don't have Descript yet. Like, the course needs to have those materials so that.
And do we give them a template with that?
Probably give them a template in the beginning, and then at a certain point in the course, we teach them how to make their own template.
It'd be interesting. You give one podcast, see all the different clips you get. Like, do you get a lot of like the same one? Do you get
that would be a good way to
they're all over the place?
See what talent could be like. But
if they pick this clip, they're going to be a good one.
Yeah. But this is
what if there was like a right answer?
This is Steph Curry.
There's never a right answer.
When I posted that video. He goes and he practices. He's the best at shooting threes in the NBA. But when he goes to the gym and trains, he goes to 2 feet and makes 5 perfect shots. And then he goes to 3 feet and makes 5 perfect shots. And then he goes to 4 feet, makes 5 perfect. He like progresses backwards as in the difficulty arises. Like part of courses is that you can't. No one is going to immediately watch a 1.5 hour course and become as good at repurposing as you and I or our team. Like they have to do the simple things before they do the hard things. And I feel like part of the course, the importance is like, all right, teach them to do this the most simple way. And then next week you're going to learn how to do it the kind of hard way, but the cooler way. And then the third week you're going to learn to do it the kind of complex way that makes really cool results. So it's like, you have to build people's knowledge set that way. Just like when you're learning math, you learn addition before you learn multiplication because they're
multivariable calculus.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah.
We should toss them right into the fire.
That's where a course is.
That's a really good analogy and point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Start them off easy.
My favorite learning in the last 6 months about practice has to do with disc golf and with putting. And Steph Curry is what honed it in. Is that most people think that if you want to get good at threes, you just go to the 3-point line and shoot. But if you want to learn how to make it at 40 feet, you got to learn how to make it at 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. Everything progresses back there. So
you just like dropping discs in the basket to practice? Like
no, I'm good enough to be making almost like all my putts at like 5, 6, 7, 8. I can get pretty far back, just like I mean. But it forces you. What it does is it's called the zone of. I'm just gonna make something up. I actually don't know what it's called. I forget what it's called. But
you're gonna say zone of genius. Which
if you're doing something that's too easy for you, then you're not learning anything because you just do it over and over and over. But if you're doing something that, like you're trying to shoot a half court shot. Every time you shoot and you miss, you're probably missing by like 10 feet. So you're not really learning much from each shot. But if you're just outside your comfort zone and you just miss by an inch to the right, all right, I need to shoot it an inch to the left, an inch to the left. So it's like you're making micro adjustments. And so and this is like one of those, maybe it's a Lindy principle or whatever you call it. So this is a principle that goes across every single like thing in life, is that like when you're trying to practice something or get better at something, you're better off focusing skills like on the edge of your capabilities than trying to overshoot and try to do something crazy. So like if you were to go out to the ski resort tomorrow and try to do a triple backflip, like it's not going to work. You're going to crash, you're going to hurt yourself, and you're not going to be able to ski for another 2 years. But if you practice in a low stress situation where you're in a foam pit and you learn how to do one backflip and then a backflip and a half, that's how you learn. So sorry, I've just been so excited about that learning recently that I had to share it.
Right. Start with the fundamentals and inch back.
Yeah, I think that's what where our course shines though, is that we have to recognize people aren't just going to learn this whole process day one. They've got to build we got to help them build a foundation. If that makes sense.
And maybe the course is just the fundamentals. And then the OTT is the additional complex stuff. If you really, learn from the course and actually want to take action on it, like, all right, here's how you keep learning and improving, and we're going to constantly update this part as well. So it could be like literally just down to the nuts and bolts of like the fundamentals and no more, and don't even get complicated.
I almost like the idea of having like, this is how to repurpose from your phone. Because like there's ways to do this just directly from your phone. Like you don't even need a computer. And there's a big part of the world out there that actually doesn't have access to a computer, but they do have access to a phone. And then from there, it's like how to use only free platforms that are already on your computer to repurpose. And then from there, there's like, all right, here's how to use all the best of the best. And obviously that's a little more complex and nuanced, but I think that's probably the best way to learn it, is to learn the easiest way to do it before you learn the hard way to do it. that makes
Totally
sense.
with you.
Yeah. So
Makes a lot of sense.
yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna come to an end of conclusion with this, how to make this course work by the end of this video.
We haven't done many behind the scenes thing, and it's just like we would be having this conversation offline.
Yeah.
So it's like very real and genuine.
It is
It's cool.
And I do think it is, like, there's a lot of nuggets in there that are actually helpful.
Totally.
And I mean, it's fun to get to nerd out on certain things, but
Yeah.
I think there's
I
some
feel like
key
I would like
takeaways.
show this to my kids one day, and they'd probably be like, "Shut up, Dad," and go back into the metaverse or something.
No, our kids are going to take our course and become the
They'll
world's
despise
richest
repurposing
repurposers.
It's like making them eat their Brussels sprouts. They have
Yeah.
to repurpose your
Have you,
content.
have you repurposed content today, son? Excuse me? Have you repurposed 10 pieces of content before you left your room? Well, you better go do it.